everybody, and welcome back to the Duck Bros podcast. And today we got a juicy topic. Robbie Ray, how you doing?
It's a sad day.
It's a sad day. It's indeed a sad weekend, I guess you can say. Sad week. It's Tuesday. It's Wednesday. Wednesday. We're releasing this on Thursday, but it's Wednesday night as we're recording this. And as you can see from Mr. Robbie Ray's background, we're talking. But I guess it's a lockout, a baseball lockout, right? It's not. It's not.
Partial?
It's not really a strike, but it's a lockout, a baseball lockout.
It's a it's a don't enter right now.
Yeah. So, as you all have, if you're a fan of baseball or sports, whatever it is, or if you're not a fan of sports and you don't know what's going on, baseball is in a lockout, which means there's no baseball right now. There's no deal between the owners and the players. So, as of right now, as of yesterday, right, at around 2 o'clock, Mr. Robert Manfred, right, the commissioner of baseball, has, I guess, canceled, right? You would say canceled the first two series of baseball of the season.
Yeah, that
So right now, it was supposed to opening day was originally supposed to be March 31st, which was the end of this month, and now it's fingers crossed, April 7th.
knock on wood.
Knock on wood. April 7th for all our baseball fans. Robbie Ray. Besides sad, thoughts, feelings, opinions.
Dude, I have so much to say on this. It's crazy.
There's so much to like that we can. There's so many routes we can go with this.
I feel like Christmas. Like there's so many routes that we could just.
Yeah.
There's so much to unwrap here.
Yeah.
And I need to get a 30-gallon black trash bag, and because we're gonna do some hefty unwrapping here.
Oh yeah. And for those of you that listen and watch us regularly, or this is your first time, or you tend to just chime in every once in a while, me and Robbie Ray do not plan these things. Like, we don't script out what we're going to talk about. It's just we what is the word? We wing it, I guess, or we improv.
We do a little, a little.
We're ducks. We're ducks.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
Someone got taken.
Yeah.
Okay. Podcast over. We gotta go.
Missing elder. We gotta go. Missing elder. We gotta go. Golly. Sorry about that. But yeah.
It's not a laughing moment. I'm sorry. Hopefully that person gets back home.
Yeah. Hopefully that person does get back home. But, as we were saying, right? We just wing it. We're ducks. We wing things. Right.
I mean,
we do a pretty good job, I would say,
for the most part.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to do a little bit better. But,
yeah. But
who knows?
At the same time, right? Like we said, this conversation can go in several different directions, right?
Yeah, it's insane.
We're both baseball guys. I would say, I feel, if we're being honest, right? We're fans of sports, of all sports, but baseball feels like it's dying slowly in terms of the way it's going, right? And I feel like this doesn't really help its cause.
No, for sure. I mean, it's really weird.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's so crazy. Because to me, I feel like baseball's on the rise.
Yeah.
But
it's yeah.
It's so for me it's insane. And for all the people that are saying this, you know what? I don't really like you. Okay? Because it's insane to me, because sometimes I see comments and it's just oh well, there goes baseball and their 10 fans. I'm like, what? Like, what are you? Where are you getting this? Because,
I mean, it's not
like,
like
for
Dodger
me,
Stadium is getting rocked 50,000 plus every night.
right?
You
But
know?
for me, like, and I don't know if it's just like an old school kind of thing, but like, isn't it like a thing for like, oh, like me, my dad, or used to go to the ballpark, and
Mm-hmm.
I remember getting hot dogs and
Yeah.
drinking beer, when I was 8, and but
I don't know about drinking beer and when I was
but
8 years
like
old, but
that, yeah, for sure not. Maybe some people, maybe
yeah,
not.
yeah, we don't
Some
judge.
parents are cooler than others.
We don't judge.
Um, but um, I always thought that was like just a normal thing,
Yeah.
you know. For me, it was me and my mom, but I remember going to games and just like looking around the stadium and thinking like, oh my god, like
There's so many
this is
people.
where I want to be.
Yeah.
Like this is like,
To this
just the
day.
atmosphere. Just, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if it's just people being there and people like to go to baseball games because that's just to feel that right, and maybe not watch it as much.
Yeah.
Which
Just have a good
I
time.
can understand that, but I mean,
But still, they're putting fans in the stands.
yeah,
And
I
so
mean,
whether
I
it's you
watched the
love the
games.
game or you're
There's
there
people
to
there.
just hang out and have a good time, drink a few beers, have a few hot dogs. Yeah.
Do the 9 innings.
Yeah, 99, But thoughts on this lockout? Or do you think do you think April 7th is the day baseball starts? Or do you think it keeps getting pushed back?
I don't think it. I think it gets pushed back more.
Oh, really?
Like
Okay.
so, like yeah, because I mean, some of the time, like or some of the reporters and everything like that, they said that they've been talking to some of the players and everything, and then like, and for people to understand a little bit more, right? Because um, people are saying like, oh, like the players are greedy,
Yeah.
like they're making millions of dollars, that should be more than enough. Like, why do they need more, right? And then then you got the billionaires like, well, okay, well, they're billionaires. Like, why aren't they willing to give the players more money, to quicken this up? And what exactly is like the reason for all of
Mm-hmm.
this happening, right? Why is there a lockout? Why, is it so hard to get, these two sides to agree? Um, and there's so many different reasons, and I mean, for the most part, a lot of it is just because of the younger players,
Mm-hmm.
and the arbitration and how that works. And I feel like that's something we probably need to dive into a little bit later, as far as talk about how that works and why it is, something that a lot of the veterans are trying to change,
Yeah.
right? For the
For the
the
future.
college, yeah, for the future, and for the people that
For the
the
little
players
leaguers
that
of
are
America.
yep, and for the players that are in their first year, their second year, and I mean, honestly, 1 through 6, you're kind of fucked. Like, there's
Yeah.
not much you can do there.
Yeah.
And there's not some, and you look at all the other sports, and it's not that way.
Uh-huh.
So for sure something needs to change, and it's just crazy to me that people don't really look into that stuff, right? They just kind of see, billionaires versus millionaires, and that's all they see. They don't really see the,
Yeah.
what's the reason behind it, and
Mm-hmm.
like what they're really trying to accomplish. Which
Definitely.
for me, like I agree with them totally 100%, and I think it's going to be better for the game. It's going to be better for you look at some of the players that got drafted and they chose football instead of baseball, but maybe if we had different agreements, and maybe you know um players had a little bit more room to work,
Mm-hmm.
we would have some of these star players
Yeah.
playing baseball
Yeah.
instead of going to other sports.
Yeah, maybe
So
we're talking Kyler Murray, center fielder for the Oakland A's, instead of Kyler Murray, starting quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. And I think,
mhm.
I'm glad you brought up this whole millionaires versus billionaires kind of concept. I feel like to the the common people, like, well, not common people, but like just the average everyday person who's not really like a baseball fan or like really digging deep into this like whole like negotiations, like that's kind of what it looks like. It just looks like these billionaires who are just greedy with their money, right? Don't want to give any more than what they're already giving, and then you have these greedy $1 million baseball players who are getting paid millions of dollars to play what some would say, quote unquote, a kid's game, you know,
Mhm.
which is like, all right, like if you put it like that, yeah, I guess it's like you're just throwing out the just you're throwing out the basic like what it is, but like if you really got to dig deep and dive what is actually happening behind closed doors, because I mean, think about all the revenue that these guys are getting from just ticket sales, food, jerseys, just just gear in general. Like these owners are making a killing. You know, and it's like,
I mean, for sure, it's a percentage
yeah,
of what of what they're making that the players are
yeah,
getting, and for the like you said, the I guess the regular viewer, the one that doesn't really kind of you
yeah,
know dive into contracts and kind of look into it like we do, which I mean I don't think a lot of people do. I think what how we talk about baseball and other sports and everything like that, and um and how we dive into it, when we and just flat out talking about it, right? That's the main reason why we started making a podcast, right? Is because the when we did talk about it, we're like, dude, like we actually know a pretty good amount. Maybe we should just talk about it, right?
yeah.
Um, everybody looks at the like the Mike Trouts or the making the 400 million, right? And Mookie Betts the over 300 million, and Bryce Harper and Manny Machado, and like you're looking at this like, damn, like they're making 300 million, right? Through what, 10 years, 13 years, 12 years, however there's like different years for all those contracts, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's about what it was, 10 to 13 years,
Yeah.
300, 400 million around there, right? Not everybody's getting that,
No, it's just the
you
top
know?
notch guys are getting that stuff. I mean,
Exactly.
what Trevor
And
Bauer is getting 40 million.
right.
Yeah, so it's like,
Um and some of these guys are even making millions. Some of these guys are making, you know, upwards to what, I think the minimum is what, 500,000 right now?
um,
It's like 500, like $510,000 or something like that around there.
if I'm reading this correctly, it was 675.
Okay, 675. I thought that's what they were trying to get it to.
No, they're going from an increase of minimums from 675K to 700K is what the MLB offered, which is the
Hmm.
owners, and the players were asking for a minimum of 725,000.
Right. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. Um, but yeah, and then like when you also think about it, that's like MLB guys, right? That doesn't even apply to the minor league guys,
No.
which I mean, I'm not sure. I would assume that some of these talks are towards the minor league guys as well. The double A, triple A, single A guys that are making chump change.
Yeah.
They're making them. Some of them make like this minimum wage, if that. And it's just a lot of it just really isn't fair when it comes to looking at other sports. Especially when like we talked the contract, the contract stuff.
Yeah. So definitely there's some issues, right? I think all right, this is what I got here. Since we're talking about numbers, right? So I'm not too sure what these numbers are for, but I know they're
Hmm.
for money. They're money, right? Um, the luxury tax figures. That's what it's called. The players,
Oh.
their luxury tax figures. All right.
Hmm.
So the players offered, well, they asked for 238 million, 244, 250, 256, and 263, right?
Hmm.
And the owners in their big O like take it or leave it deal offered 220, 220, 220, 224, and 230. I'm guessing that's over the next 5 years, right? I'm
Right.
assuming.
And so that's basically their cap, right?
Yeah,
For the whole team.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So so basically what the players want is
More,
to increase the luxury tax so that they could, make more money. Or crazy thought, to be able to get better players on their teams,
yeah,
right? Because obviously if you have more money to spend, the chances of you being able to, you
compete.
know, compete is
the
there.
the biggest thing, right? So that people are wondering, oh, at home, what's the big deal of arguing, right? The biggest thing is to make baseball competitive, right? To stop teams from tanking and this whole rebuild, right? Kind of
Mhm.
idea, so that all 30 teams in the MLB have a shot at making the playoffs every year, right?
Yeah.
Obviously,
Like base.
uh,
Oh, go ahead.
obviously, in sports, like there's going to be teams that just are better. They attract more stars, right? Based on their city, their situation, right? Coaches, whatever the case may be, right? But the biggest thing is just making it competitive, so that way, when the Dodgers roll into Miami, right? It's not just a. It's just not like, oh, well, here's Miami. We're gonna just walk in and take care of business in 3 games, and then walk back out, and on to the next team, right? So in that case, I I like it for the game because now it makes the games that you don't want to watch watchable,
Mhm.
you know. And really, I mean, you're you're gonna it gives a chance for those smaller players, not the big name guys, not the Mike Trouts, the Mookie Betts, right? More of the Chris Taylors,
Mhm.
the David
For sure.
Fletchers, those kind of guys to like, you know, get a little bit more money and be effective, right? Because how many times have you seen guys just like, have great years on great teams, but hey, we got to keep, we got to keep our guy, we got to keep our Mookie Betts, we got to keep our Walker Bueller, so we got, what? Sorry, bud, like you got to go buy Jock Peterson,
Mhm.
like the guy that could be making a little bit extra more money on a team that he probably wants to be on, right? Now you got
Mhm.
to, all right, now we got to plan another way because and just keep it. I don't know. I like the homegrown style.
Oh, for
I
sure.
like to see guys play on their teams for their whole careers. It makes it more fun.
No, no, for sure it does. And then, I mean, it also, like you said, it allows for more competitive play, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you look at some of the budgets that we're working, right? It goes back to the whole Moneyball and Billy Bean, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the Yankees versus the A's, right? And so there's a huge gap there as far as money's concerned. And then there's a huge gap there when it comes to star power,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And you could go ahead and do, analytics and say that, this player is as valuable as this player in certain circumstances throughout the whole season and everything like that. But I think the whole aspect of sports and the whole aspect of especially baseball is that's fine when it comes to 162 games they're playing percentages perfect, but when it gets to playoffs and it comes down to one at bat or one pitch, that's when you need those star players, right? That's when you need the intangibles that some of those stars do bring,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if you don't have the money for it and if you don't have the salary cap to keep some of these players, right,
Yeah.
um this is what you fall into,
Yep.
And for it to be competitive through 162, I think you need that increase. I think you need, you know, the teams to be able to kind of um push push it, right?
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
and be able to, you know, spend that extra, you know, 5-10 million to get that player that they need.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
because it's not the gap's not that big. You
It's really
know,
not.
you're looking at the A's. They're constantly one of the best teams in the MLB, no matter who is on their team, right? They're literally just one star, you know, two stars away from, you know, really
Making
being
that
a
push.
contender.
Yeah,
You
making
know,
that
exactly.
push
You
into the World
know,
Series.
I would say maybe one superstar in their lineup and just an everyday player that's consistent, and they're, you know, they can compete with anybody out there.
Yeah,
You know, especially when it comes to playoffs.
and it's not to say that like that these teams um, can't win without star players. We've seen plenty
Mm-hmm.
of teams uh, win. We've seen plenty of teams make it to the World Series that we didn't really expect, or they have that low budget, not so much superstar power, but
Mm-hmm.
as of lately, like the teams that are winning are the team like are the
To
best
have that star
teams that
power.
have that star power. Like
Sure.
just
The lot
the
the
Braves, you had Freddie
mhm.
Freeman and what that group of bunch. Like Soler was a guy people were raving about when he was in Chicago. Jock Peterson was a guy people were raving about when he was coming up through the Dodger system. Like these guys
Mhm.
are, you know, Dansby Swanson from Vanderbilt. Ozzy Albies was a number one prospect at one point. Even without Acuna, these guys, they can get it done on the big stage.
Mhm.
Same thing the Dodgers, obviously star power all around. The year before that, the Nationals, Juan Soto, Rendon,
Max Scherzer.
Max Scherzer, Strasburg, and the list goes on. The Red Sox, obviously, the
That's when they
Astros.
had Mookie, JD,
Yeah,
you know, like all these guys.
these teams are as of late. Even you get those teams that just out of the bunch make it. Like when the Dodgers played the Rays. Like yeah, the Rays are a great team, but what do they lack? That star power.
Right.
They're at the time their star guy was a guy who just had a hot 60-game season and he was rolling. Everybody's
Mhm.
the legend of Randy Rosarena. Just guy was riding where they were riding the hot hand, and it was just like, all right, yeah, you got Randy Rosarena, or do you want this solidified superstar in Mookie Betts who's already won an MVP? It's kind of like,
Right. But and that's the whole concept, right?
yep,
Is like, yeah, like things like that will happen, and those are great stories,
yep,
right? But imagine if the Rays had, you know, someone else other than Randy,
yeah,
right? Because after that, you know, Dodgers got smart. They stopped pitching to him, and then it made someone else beat them.
yep,
You know, and that can happen. But if you have someone to kind of protect Randy, right, where like we can't pitch around him, then that's a whole different ball game,
exactly,
right? And so that's when you get into the whole, you know, the whole strategic play and being able to pitch around a guy and not being able to pitch around him, right?
yeah,
If you have that other superstar, we can't pitch around Randy. We can't because we have to worry about this other guy. And those are the little things that do make a difference when you are playing in playoff games and you are playing for the World Series, right?
definitely,
And those are the things that with this extension on the salary cap and adding more money for for the teams to be able to work with it, you know, we might be able to see that gap. You might be able to see, you know, the Rays get that star player and change, right? And no, if nothing more, it allows them to keep some of these homegrown guys. I mean,
mm-hmm.
look at the Marlins. Look how what the guys they had, and if they had the money to actually keep them and not have to trade them away
Yeah.
to get
No,
more
all
assets
those
and
guys
stuff
are,
like that, right?
yeah,
I mean,
Stanton, Yelich,
yeah, you got
Ozuna,
Realmuto, you had D
Romuto.
Gordon, you had Hanley, right? You had all these guys, right? And
Yep.
obviously, some of it was just, you know, ownership and just being just dumb about it, right? But
Yeah.
a lot of it also was like they just didn't have the money to play some of these guys, you
Yeah.
know? And
There came a
for
time
me,
where it was you gotta pay these guys, and then if you're gonna pay them, like, you know, or you're not gonna
right,
be able to pay all of them.
right, exactly. And like, and to bring this full circle, right? Yes, it's it's the players, right? It's the ownership, right? And it's the organization as far as, front office and GMs and, you know, people that are trying to build these playoff this Series teams, right? But also you got to look at it as a fan, right? As a fan, if you're a Marlins fan, right? This rookie, right, or this sophomore, or this guy that's in his third to fourth year, right, and that he's going to be a superstar. What are the chances that you're going to keep him,
Mm-hmm.
right? And how bad is that to be that type of fan, right? And you love this team, and you're in it, right? And then you love this superstar player, but oh, he's gonna be a free agent in 2 years. That's it for him. He's gonna go somewhere else,
Yeah, and I like you that you made that because I remember when Jose Fernandez was still in the league, right?
Hmm.
He was only what 2, 3 years in, and people are already talking about him and him being a Dodger after
Hmm.
he's at once he entered free agency, and it's like, dude, like this guy was the reason Marlins fans were going every fifth day. You
Yep.
know, like every fifth day, this guy's gonna pitch. Let's go buy a ticket to watch this guy. And
Hmm.
if he was on the road and he was pitching, people were buying tickets to go see the Marlins,
Hmm.
who were in fourth or last place at the time. They weren't a
But they wanted
competitive
to
team,
see
but they
him.
wanted to see him pitch, right? And he was still pitching for this team, and people are already talking about, well, when that free agent class comes, he's probably going to be a Dodger because
Hmm.
they got the money and they got the resources for him to be successful. And it kind of sucks. I mean, obviously, as Dodger fans, we're, well, hell yeah, fuck yeah, that's great. Shit, we'll take all the
Hmm.
best players we can. If they want to come play for us, we'll take them. But being a team of a what people would call a small market team, like the Marlins or the Rays,
The Royals,
the
which
Royals,
won the World
which won
Series,
the World,
but
yeah, couldn't
we
keep
haven't
the
seen that happen again.
couldn't keep that team. Look what happened after. Couldn't really keep that team together.
Boom, everyone separated.
Yep. Now they're all over the place playing good and other teams.
Hmm.
Um, which sucks, because you're like, man, we obviously we're getting the guys, but when it's time for them to go, like, or when their time is up for a contract, we can't bring them back. So they're pretty much like holding on to those 6 years of like, let's hope we win in those 6 years,
Hmm.
with those guys that we got, and it sucks. I mean, everybody wants to see that team. I mean, obviously, if it's not the Dodgers, I would love for the Rays to win a World Series.
All right.
I mean, if
I want to see the Marlins in the World Series. I want to see the Rays.
yeah,
Like there's something in being able to see teams that haven't won it in years,
or
right?
ever,
In decades,
yeah,
exactly. And I mean, look at the Bengals. Everybody was rooting for them because they've never won a Super Bowl. And it, I mean, being honest, if you look at it 5 years ago,
mm,
even maybe 3 years ago, it did not look like they were going to be in the Super Bowl anytime soon. I was thinking it's going to be decades until the Bengals figure it out, right?
yeah,
But they figured it out, and it would be amazing to see the A's. How long has the A's been like? We've been waiting. They made a movie about them trying to get to the World Series.
yeah. They've
Like
been
that's
waiting.
how.
What Worlds like what, 989, 890s when they were playing the Dodgers and the Giants.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
But
been yeah,
that's about it.
yeah,
And they're a prime example of being just good enough to make the playoffs, but not being able to get over that hump,
yeah. Couldn't get past.
and
I don't think what in the last what let's say from like 2010 when the A's started becoming like this consistent presence in the AL West, winning their division, making the wild card. I haven't seen them get past the ALDS
Mm-mm.
in those
They haven't
years,
gotten past
and
the first round.
it's just the lack of star power.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, obviously the wild card situation and whatever it may be, one game just one game is one game, but like even when they were playing in the ALDS, like I they couldn't get it done, and then you
Mm-hmm.
get this team that comes out of nowhere, the Houston Astros with star power,
Homegrown, but star
homegrown,
power
but
at
star
that.
power at that, get and having the money and the resources, getting, you know, to
Verlander.
ALCS, getting to that, winning the World Series, getting to the World Series, it say what you want to say about them cheating, they still have made it to they're getting to the World Series. I mean,
Consistently.
they just
Like,
they made it to the World Series this past year, hopefully without cheating.
yeah.
You know,
But so I mean that's salary cap, that's great. Luxury tax, that's awesome.
yeah,
If they are able to increase that, that'll be great for the game. That'll be great for the fans.
yeah,
Um, but for the bigger aspect, right? Let's get to the players. Let's get to our arbitration. Let's get to the bonus that they wanted to implement, all that stuff, right? Because I think that's probably the bigger aspect, right? When it comes to um, what the players are fighting for, and then also, what people are kind of mad about, right? Is the more money for the players, and what really that means, right? Um, and for me, it's not them making more millions. It's for the younger players. It's for the not the day to day guys,
yeah,
that are
definitely.
making
It's for
less than a million.
those bench guys that are like
Mhm.
key parts of
Bullpen
this,
guys,
guys that are key parts
For
of the
me,
team.
yeah, for me, it's probably a lot of those bullpen guys.
Yeah,
The not the
bullpen,
closers, not the setup man.
but those guys in
It's
the middle
those
who are pitching every other day and
mhm,
just, they're
the guys
just as
that
important. The Phil
yeah,
Bickfords.
the guys that they need to get the innings.
Hmm.
And those are the guys that do it. But maybe they're not the most important, or the I guess you could say the sexy player, right? Where
They're
like
not putting. They're not the reason people are coming to.
exactly,
You know,
but they get the job done, and they're a key,
and they still get the
part
ring.
of the team.
They
Yeah,
still get
for
the
sure.
ring. Pedro Baez, key
As
example.
as as much as sometimes I hate that man, but he's part of the team. Damn it.
He won the
Um.
ring, man. He was
So
valuable.
do you want to talk about that? I feel like you are more knowledgeable when it comes to arbitration and how that works.
I mean, from my decorative resume in MLB The Show franchise,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
you
I
know,
mean, you how many World Series do you have under your belt now?
oh, plenty, plenty. It's too many to count. Um,
Talking
but
about the Marlins winning the World Series, I believe you've done that.
I've the Mariners, who have never even been to the World Series, right?
There you
I
go.
won them, I think, 3 and 5 years.
So
So
there we
I
go.
mean,
So you know more than enough to
Seattle, call
talk
me
on.
up. Seattle, call me up.
If anyone needs a GM,
Call me up.
right here.
Just get somebody to do the numbers for me, and I'll just call people up and say what's up.
For
Anyways,
sure. All right, talk to me.
from my
Let's
basic, just
let's educate the people. You
so
know.
arbitration, from what I literally from playing the video games, right, is basically right, just two sides, right. You either agree on a deal, right, or you go to arbitration. So
When do
basically,
you hit arbitration?
I believe it's after your third year. So going into your fourth year.
Hmm.
So going into your fourth year as a full time 4 year play, your fourth year as a major leaguer, you go into arbitration, and just basic, right? As basic, I could be wrong, but as basic as it could be, right? According to how it's ran in the game, right? The player puts out a number, the team puts out a number, right? And basically, I believe it's like a court decides.
Like a third party.
Yeah, like a third party decides
Yeah.
what's like the fair amount that these
Hmm.
players can get
Right.
from for this, for whatever
Yeah,
it
I
is.
think it's either it's either they they either agree right on either organization or the player.
Yeah,
If not, then like the third party comes in
and like gives like
and
throws in their number that they think's like
throws in their number. But I think when they come in, they have to like that's it. They have to take that number.
yeah, yeah,
They
yeah,
can't they can't like change it.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
yeah,
So it could really like it could screw the organization or it could screw the player,
yeah,
right?
definitely.
Because I remember when Mookie Betts was doing it right for Boston, and everybody was like, "Dude, they better like agree because if not, that was when he was like getting MVP votes, right? Um,
All
and
star, Gold
also, yeah,
Gloves.
all star, like, yeah, for sure. And they're like, they need to agree because if they go to arbitration, like, he has the numbers to back up to get like a huge chunk,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, but yeah, that's basically what it is. But um, what they do fourth, fifth, and sixth, right? Unless they do
Unless they agree
um
on a contract or something,
on a
but
contract or something, right?
yeah,
But um, yeah, that's basically what arbitration is. But I think the biggest thing is the 6 years that the team has to be, like you're there for 6 years no matter what,
yeah,
unless you get traded,
yeah,
And I think that's the biggest thing. And when it comes to arbitration, like just that fact, either this number, if not third party comes in, and then that's the number you get, right?
yeah,
I think that just proves how little the player really has to kind of negotiate, and then also like to get what he's worth. I think a lot of the times you see players go to arbitration and they don't get what they're worth. They don't get the numbers that they're putting out. Not only that, but you're looking at a guy that's barely 4 years into the league, and so he's not even getting paid for what he might be able to do. Um, so there's a lot that goes into that.
yeah, definitely. And just so people, I mean, if you're like a number money guy, whatever, um, just to show how, we asked in the beginning, right, if you thought that if the April 7th date was going to be the start for baseball, and you
Hmm.
said no. Just to show you how far apart, right? Really, that these this like kind of is like so. The players wanted 85 million in the arbitration pool. I don't
Oh,
know
the bonus,
the bonus, right? The pre-arbitration
right?
bonus pool. So
Yeah.
is that like 85 per team? Like they can use, or I'm not really sure how that works. I don't know if you know anything about it.
Um, so I believe that's throughout the MLB,
Okay, so right,
right? Because so like I guess that's going to be I'm not sure how they would really like implement it, but I'm assuming like maybe like incentives,
yeah,
or because it's supposed to be for the top players that are going through arbitration. So I
yeah,
I would think like when Mookie Betts was going through arbitration, there should be a bonus for that, right? And he
yeah,
gets a
definitely,
bonus however they see fit, whether like yet again that there's that third party that goes into it, right? And maybe they figure out, okay, well, all based off the bonus, this is how much he should get from that pool,
yeah,
right? So I'm assuming it's just money that they're able to pick from, right? I'm assuming that's not going to be going towards the organization, right? I think that's going to be more money that's coming from the MLB and not the owner,
yeah,
right? So that could increase contracts, right? And then not hurt the team when it comes to their luxury tax
yeah,
and their cap,
yeah,
right? So that's what I kind of got from it. I could be wrong, but that's what it sounds like what they're trying to do,
Yeah,
right? So that allows the team to pay the players what they're worth, right? And that allows the player to get what he's worth, but not get, but the team's really able to kind of keep their cap low,
yeah,
right? Because it's coming from the MLB instead of their
yeah.
money.
Well,
So,
yeah. Thank you, Robert, for explaining that. But just to show, if you're a numbers person or you want to see really like the players were asking for 85 with $5 million annual increases, right? So 85 for the next 5 years, 90, 95, up to 105 every year, right? The best and final offer was just going up from 25 million to 30 million
mhm.
flat out. So it's kind of like there's a huge difference like in what both sides want from each other.
Oh, I would say every aspect, right?
Every
Because you look
ass
at the luxury tax that you mentioned,
yeah.
they're like $50 million off,
Yeah.
right? And then this one, it's about the same thing,
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because I mean, I think we're kind of done with arbitration. We're done with the amount of money and everything like
Yeah.
that, right? Now I kind of want to go towards just the fan outlook and also Manfred
Yeah.
because there's a lot of
There's
anger towards him.
whew, whew. Stroman had some
And
words for that man.
who?
Marcus Stroman.
Oh, I didn't even see what he said.
Oh, he wants that guy afuera.
I feel like a lot of the players do, and a
The
lot of the
the
fans that.
fan, I would say the majority of fans.
Mhm.
I
I would
mean,
say I would say
from
basic. I would say it's like 90% of fans,
from the
if not more.
lockout alone happening, right?
Hmm.
Him being so quick to cancel games, right?
Hmm.
And for him, after the whole Astros scandal, giving them immunity
Hmm.
and calling the
Hmm.
trophy a piece of metal, you
Yeah,
know,
that pissed off a lot of
and
players, a lot of fans.
and it's just like you basically run this league, and you're kind of treating it like it's no big deal. Like, I hope he
Yeah.
knows that the players and the fans are the biggest reason he gets a check, however often he
Oh
gets a
yeah, for
check.
sure. And do they vote him?
I think that the person before picks. I don't know. I'm
Oh,
assuming the owners choose because he's supposed to be like the
I
middleman.
thought I don't know how because NBA gets voted. How do commissioners? That would be I don't know what happens. But while you look that up, I'm gonna go on a little rant,
Go
right?
for it.
But bro, like the video of him like going up there and then like the little smirk or laugh before he gave that press conference. Oh my god. Like that irked me so much. Like it looked like he was just like kind of happy about it. Like he was like, "Ah, you guys don't get your games. Like we're taking it away from you." And
Yeah,
it's just insane, bro. It's so crazy for me to kind of like look at how he's kind of and it's crazy because it's only been like the past like 5 years, right? Where like with the Astros stuff, and then also with this, that it's just kind of like it's been just going downhill. Like it's just been like every decision you kind of look and it's like, dude.
he just
Every time that you see him, it's kind of like you dislike him more and more with every appearance.
he doesn't please the people. He
Not
doesn't please the fans. The
or the players at
or
that
the
at
player. Like,
that.
I mean, if the it's different if the fans don't want you around because I mean we complain about everything. You know,
Yeah, for sure.
whether it's good reason or not. We we're gonna complain about we complain about our own teams, and how it's ran, and
Hmm.
it's just more of that, um, backseat, I guess
Backseat driving,
backseat driving kind of thing that we,
backseat conditioning.
yeah, but for the players, right? It's different. It's like if you're the boss, and your players are, I mean, your employees are, like secretly, talking crap about you, amongst
Hmm.
each other. But these guys, the players are publicly like saying like, no, this guy is terrible. He's got to go. Like, like it.
Hey,
That's bad. And I looked it up.
that's
The
terrible.
owners vote on who is the
Hmm.
next commissioner. So once, I don't know if they can vote for him to be out. Obviously, if he's doing what they want him to do, they're gonna keep him there,
Like they
whether it's
can't.
good for
Like
baseball or not.
can we like impeach him?
Like a
Is that a thing?
president, who
Yeah,
knows?
like the players and the fans. Can we like impeach
I
him?
mean, maybe we can start a petition.
We've done that. There's been there's been
A
like petitions
a
for
legit
forever.
petition, and we send
I
it
say
to we
can we just
can we
we
send it to Roger
storm
Goodell and
we
have him.
storm
Look, here's this
they're
is the
probably
best.
best friends, dude. They're probably best
Here
friends.
is the worst part about it. Everyone hated Roger Goodell, and I feel like people like Goodell more than they like Rob Manfred.
I would agree with that.
It's fair enough because
I would agree
I
with
feel
that.
like
Can we
over the last like 2 or 3 years, I feel like Goodell has been kind of like, you know, he's kind of, I don't know if he's earned the respect of football players, but you know, I guess people, I don't know if the right word is tolerate him. I don't know,
I would say so.
you know, like it's not as bad as it was, like
Right. I think it got to a point where it's like, this is our life.
yeah,
And it's
and
like he's not doing anything terrible, so it's like
yeah,
it's not too bad,
yeah,
you know. But I you know what? I feel like they should make like a commissioners like UN
okay,
where they all get together, you know, and then Adam Silver should be like the head commissioner, and then he could really help out all the other commissioners. You know, I don't know NHL. Maybe their commissioner is really good. I don't know if they have a commissioner, and the same thing with MLS. But I look at Adam Silver and I'm like, that's a guy I could stand behind. You know,
yeah.
he's
I
changed
mean,
the game a lot. He's made a lot of great decisions as far as that, and
yeah,
he just, other than not looking very human, he's very approachable. You know, and he's very like he seems like a very down to earth person, although that he looks like he's from outer space. But I feel like he should be like the head commissioner, and
okay. So
like he
you're
should
saying there
be
should be
able
a commissioner of all commissioners.
a commission of all commissioners, and then he should be like the head commissioner, and like he's able to help out, you know, and be
Okay.
like, hey, Manfred, what's going on? What
This is
what are
what
we doing?
we should
This is
try.
what we need to do, you
Yeah.
know, and then he could kind of just like veto it
Hmm.
because
All right.
I feel like some of them, they need help, you know,
Yeah.
they need help,
I
you
mean,
know, like
definitely.
just like the owners have their own like you know, and so why can't the commissioners get together, you
Yeah.
know, and help each other out,
Yeah. I agree. You know,
you know?
why not? Why not
But
us, huh? It's
I
just,
just
I was just, I mean, I wasn't going to make it to the game on March 31st. But damn well I was excited to get home and watch highlights and get home to watch baseball games starting March 31st, After a long day of, coaching high school kids, it's good to just, get home at 7 o'clock and hear my boy JoJo Davis and Oral Hershiser have their bromance as the Dodgers pound on the Padres, you
I
know?
mean they're amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
Like and don't get me wrong, like I love Vince Scully, and I want him to always be there. But they did a great job getting replacements because like those guys, yes, I mean let's give it up to those guys because I mean
I'm a fan.
definitely. Definitely. The way that like it's amazing because it's kind of like a young guy and it's kind of like a old
Older,
school
old
and they're just
school.
like they mesh together so well.
Yep.
You get kind of get both sides of the spectrum
Yep.
on that.
And see what you're
You know?
depriving us of, Rob Manfred. We can't even
Yeah.
listen to our boys Joe and Oral
No, I mean
every night on Sportsnet
and
LA.
and for sure I hope that they figure it out, but
Oh,
I just
definitely.
I think that this was good. I think that a lot of just regular fans and they should do their research. They should kind of look into it a little bit more and kind of get a better understanding of what these players are really fighting for.
Yeah.
They just they want a
Don't.
girl worth fighting
I
for.
don't think it's fair for you for people to just throw out that millionaires versus billionaires like greedy kind of
Hmm.
concept, and just like don't be as, I guess, ignorant to like what's actually happening and what's actually being like negotiated here,
Hmm.
because I was reading that technically Rob Manfred can just lift the lockout whenever he wants without a deal
Hmm.
in place, and it would just go off the deals before.
Right.
No luxury tax would be even what's the word?
Needed or like
No, it would just not be effective basically. So
oh like there would be like no rules,
yeah,
kind of like soccer.
there would be like, yeah, no luxury tax rules. So basically like,
No cap.
yeah, I
You could get
guess,
whatever players because that's how soccer is. You could get if you
yeah,
have the money, like
yeah.
spend
So
it,
I guess that
basically.
happened in 1994, and then we all know what happened in 1994. Strike in the middle of the season, no
Hmm.
World Series, no
Yeah.
nothing. And I feel like I'd rather have the season delayed and have a World Series in October than to have him lift it, have opening day, have a like half-ass season, and then just for them to just be like, all right, yeah, we're done playing. Like we got our
Right.
money. Like see
Right.
it. Like let's work on our deal and like you know.
And, I think people need to really like understand that the players like what they're doing, right? And the fact that there a lot of them are saying that they're willing to go ahead and just not play a season is like there's something important in what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
The way
definitely.
that they're trying to, you know, push push their agenda and kind of and fight for what they want, and Manfred said in his little press conference, right, is that like the ownership and the players work really really hard to kind of you know um make this happen, right, and the the plan or that the owners sent to the players had really great incentives for the fans and had all these things. I think like all the number wise and all the information that's coming out right now, we see that that's not really true. you know like it looks like the owners really didn't want to budge, really didn't want to put any more money into these organizations, and the players were like, look, to push the game further, right? To make the game funner, right? To make the game better. Like this is what we need to do. We need to increase, the cap. We need to increase the bonus for arbitration for these young players, right? To for them to want to be here, right? To for them to want to produce, right? And to get what they're worth, because when it comes down to it, like it's like with any other job, if you don't feel like you're making the money that you should be making, right? And in our regular, 9 to 5 on our 9 to 5 job, how productive are you? How
Yeah,
willing are you to go, above and beyond and really push yourself to be better? Not a lot, right? And so if you're looking at some of these younger players and they're like, "Oh, I just hit arbitration. I didn't get the amount that I feel like I deserved," right? And how demeaning is that? Like you know, how from there can you go and be like, "I really want to show out for this team now," you know, when the organization really didn't give me what I deserve, and obviously they don't really feel that I'm worth what I
Mm-hmm.
really am,
Yeah.
and so I
Or
feel like there's a
know,
lot of that coming from it as
yeah,
well.
and just like there's that aspect, and there's also the aspect of like we wish we could give you the money that you feel like you're worth, but we can't because
Right, because we just don't have the money
we
because we're
one, we
the
don't have the
Royals and we
money,
can't we
or
can't we can't pay
two,
our players.
it's like two. All right, yeah, we would, we like to pay you, Salvador Perez, but we got this young kid right here who's gonna get paid in the 30 million range.
Hmm.
So we got to make sure we get him paid before we can
Yeah,
salvage
and
your last few years. It's
as an organization, like how can you pick and choose like that?
yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
It's
It sucks because you're like, all right, like we have this homegrown Salvador Perez who we want,
mhm.
to finish his career here in Kansas City,
Which probably
and
just had one of the best years of
yeah,
his career
and
last year.
still be competitive for like not
Hmm.
only for him but for the fans and for the
Right.
organization, right? But we can't pay you because like we got to start thinking about the future and we got to start thinking about
Hmm.
the young guys that we have.
Right.
It sucks. I mean,
Yeah, I think it's really bad for the players, one, the organization that, you have, and it's not just ownership, right? And I feel like people kind of forget that, right? Is you have the owners, right? And that's fine. But like you're looking at the GM, you're looking at the assistant GM, you're looking at the training staff, right? We love the training staff. We looking at the manager, the bench coach, everybody that all the, hundreds of people possibly, right? When you come into concessions and everybody that's working for this organization that takes pride in and you know the team,
mm-hmm.
from top to bottom. There's pride in making sure that they have a team that's ready to compete and that's going to contend for a World Series. And when it comes down to if you're not able to do that because you don't have the money to do it, that in itself is just like it sucks.
Yep.
So and I think people kind of forget that the organization is kind of, yes, the owner kind of is part of that, but they're also kind of away from it in a sense, right? Because if you have the owners worrying about, oh, I need to get more money and everything like this, right? Um, and then you have this organization behind them trying to busting their ass to get the best product that they can, off the money that they have. There's a gap between there, and I think that so many times ownership and the GM, the organization are bunched into one, and I feel like people kind of forget that the front office and the organization is not always what they don't really see eye to eye to what the owner wants all the time as well, and so and it goes from top to bottom, from the organization to the players to the fans, and if you want a product that baseball is dying and you want to revive it a little bit, these are the necessary steps to get back to, baseball being, fun to watch and exciting to watch and get people into the stands, get people watching from home and really gaining a product that people are going to enjoy,
Yep.
and love,
Keep
you
the
know.
fans you already have, and keep adding new ones.
Mhm.
Because I mean, how many people do you really know that are gonna just stick around and you know watch this? I mean, there's a handful of people that want to boycott baseball in general.
Yep.
Even if they do agree on something, it's kind of just like just to prove a point where it's like dude, like you can't do any of this without us. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, you gotta. I mean, you would think after the whole COVID season, with no fans, like it would kind of make you feel some kind of way where you're like,
Yeah.
I mean, it was coming. It was coming. It was. I felt
Hmm.
like that 2020 season was kind of just like, you know, that was kind of like a little taste of what we're getting now.
Yeah, for
Them
sure.
because
Yeah,
they
it.
couldn't even, they barely agreed on that to have a 60-game
Hmm.
season. And there were so many different things, and now it's coming back into this whole.
Right. And you
This.
would think like because of the COVID season, they kind of had a little practice and they had, meetings to be able to talk about, aspects, and kind of get an idea of, what the players want, what the owners want, and get together and kind of hash it out. But I mean, there looks like there's no real structure here. There's no real like camaraderie, right? I think
Yeah.
there's a huge divide in what the
Mm-hmm.
ownership wants and what players want.
Yep.
And there has to be, a little bit more of chemistry there, I feel like.
Definitely.
Because I feel like you see, you know, I'm gonna go back to NBA because I feel like it's one of the best leagues out there as far as commissions and the player union. You look at the commissioner and the players, they look like they have a relationship, you know, and a relationship with the commissioner, and they have some sort of, dialogue there.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to baseball, this does not look like they have it.
Definitely not. I agree. I agree. Because it seemed like they extended the deadline. It was supposed to originally be
Hmm.
Sunday or Monday. It was Monday, right?
Hmm.
And they extended it like with all this, like, oh, the talks are heating up, and it looks like like the deal is not impossible to get done, and it's just like, all right, like they're actually gonna get it done, and then
Hmm.
Tuesday comes around, and it's just kind of like,
It went
here's
backwards.
yeah, here we're like, no, it's like, and it's kind
Yeah.
of like what is it? Is it close? You're showing us the numbers, and this doesn't look close. Like
Not
somebody's
at all.
somebody's not doing their job
Right. And
correctly.
and it's crazy to be that far off from 85 to 30 million.
Yeah.
That's not close at all.
Oh no.
You know? Like it seems like and with the numbers coming out and us getting the information, it looks like like there's no dialogue. There's no like, meet us halfway. There's nothing. This is it looks like, you know, and I'm always going to go more on the side of the players because I feel like the players are doing it for the right reason. They're doing it to push the game. They're doing it for
I
the
mean,
future of the game and everything like that.
I
But I mean, there's no push from the owners to even kind of meet halfway, you know?
I think it would be different if you just seen all the young guys pushing for
Hmm.
this motive. But you see guys like Max Scherzer, who's probably a couple
Making more
years.
money than anybody,
Yeah,
really. Like
right. And not only that, he's probably a couple years from retirement.
for sure,
You
I don't know what the contract he has right now.
but
But he
like,
just signed one, but
you know what I'm saying. But
yeah,
like, there's
he has
guys
maybe
that are
5 year
like,
stops if that.
yeah, like these guys, like these deals are like, some of these guys, the deals are not gonna really affect them as much, in their careers, because their
Mhm.
careers they're at the tail end of their
They're
careers.
Yeah,
Like,
they're out of arbitration. They're
yeah,
making the money
yeah,
that they have. The
yeah,
contracts that they have right now are probably going to be the contracts that they're going to end their career with,
yeah.
you know.
So
And
it's
I
like
think that shows enough to be like, yo, like
these
they're
guys,
doing it. They're not doing it for themselves,
yeah,
you
definitely.
know.
So I mean, anything else you want to get off your chest here?
I think that we kind of went on a rant, and I feel like I feel a lot better,
Uh,
you
Hey,
know.
at the end of the day,
I feel less heavy,
sad
you know.
day for baseball fans. Sad day for sports, really, because if after, I mean, after basketball season and hockey season's over, like,
All we had was baseball.
yeah, so it's
I
like,
mean,
I mean,
I
uh,
guess we're gonna watch college.
it's a bright spot for college. is that
Dude,
they're gonna
college
use,
is electric.
you know,
It's
there's bright spots, and it's good to see. I mean, there's teams out there. Texas is looking good.
yeah.
I mean, Long Beach State's looking good.
Oh yeah, hometown baby, let's get it.
So I mean, if we don't have Major League Baseball, I guess we get I guess college baseball is the next best thing right now. Huh?
It's about to be the only thing that we have.
Yeah, I mean,
So
yeah, I mean, thank you guys for listening. Let us know what you think in the comments. Um, when do you think this? When do you think baseball's coming back? Do you think it's gonna
do you
come?
even want baseball to come
Do
back?
you want baseball to come back?
Do you care?
Do you even care?
Do you want us to talk about other things that you may?
You think Rob Manfred should lose his job? Do you not care if Rob Manfred loses his job or not? Or do you think baseball should just die in a bottomless pit and never see the light of day ever again? Let us know what you think.
Just get Spartan kicked into a pit
This is baseball.
and die.
Yep.
That would be sad.
Yep.
I
Let us
I would
know.
be very sad.
Let us know what you think. This is Robbie Ray. I
This
mean,
is, this is Master Davey.
we out, boy.
Let's go.